Hello guys, my name is David and I am a roller coaster enthusiast. I have not been into roller coasters for very long, just about 2 years now, but now that this year I've gone on almost 60 roller coasters, I thought that it would be a good time to make a YouTube channel about it. And my first video is my top 25 coasters at the end of 2024. Let's get into it. Now, my honorable mentions are Gemini at Cedar Point, Wild Eagle at Dollywood, SheiKra at Busch Gardens, Tampa, Valravn at Cedar Point, and Nighthawk at Carowinds. Now, to start off this list at number 25 is a great family coaster with the Big Bear Mountain at Dollywood. This roller coaster has 3 launches. It is built by Vekoma, and it is not a very powerful ride, but it is very well themed and it is just pure fun. Next we have, at 24, we have Cheetah Hunt, which is an Intamin Blitz coaster, also with 3 launches, and it is kind of a family coaster. It is a more thrilling version than Big Bear Mountain. It has some good airtime and inversion, and it still has some straight track, and it is not very intense, but it is just very fun to go on. Next, we have at 23, Banshee at Kings Island, which is a B&M invert, a very intense ride. And it has 7 inversions, with one of them being the highlight of the ride with a slow roll, which gives hang time on an inverted coaster, which feels really weird. But my one gripe with this coaster is that it does run rougher than probably almost any other B&M that I've been on. And it's still a great ride, but it was hard for me to get past the roughness. At number 22, we have Thunder Striker at Carowinds, which is a B&M hypercoaster. This ride has a very repetitive layout with just airtime hill after airtime hill, but every hill delivers in the airtime, and it has a very good first drop, and the helix at the end is pretty pointless. At number 21, we have Kumba at Busch Gardens, Tampa. This is yet another B&M, which is one of their multi-loopers. And this one also runs a bit rough like Banshee, but it isn't as bad. And it also is more intense than Banshee. It goes through all of the inversions very fast, and it gives a lot of positive G's. And then next on the list at number 20, we have Raptor at Cedar Point, which is another B&M, this time an invert, which is very intense, and all of the inversions are intense and snappy, and the downward helix has very strong positive G forces. Number 19, we have Copperhead Strike at Carowinds, a Mack Rides multi-launch coaster. The launches are weak, but all the inversions give hang time. It has some really good airtime, and it has a lot of variety. One of the best layouts that I've experienced. Next on the list, at number 18, we have Diamondback at Kings Island. This is very similar to Thunder Striker, yet again a B&M Hyper, but this one has a less repetitive layout, and it gives much stronger airtime. And I have heard people complain about a rattle on this thing. I never noticed it on any of my 2 rides on it. It just gives some really good airtime, and has a great first drop. Next on the list, at number 17, we have Montu at Busch Gardens, Tampa, another B&M invert. This one, most people will consider the best, but this one is very intense, like all the B&M inverts, but this one takes it really far, going into trenches. All the inversions are whippy and intense, especially the Batwing and the final corkscrew at the end. And at number 16, we have my favorite B&M invert that I've been on, with Afterburn at Carowinds. And this one is a lot shorter than the other ones, but the reason why I like this one so much is that it goes through its elements so much faster, and they're in such close proximity than all the other B&M inverts. This one, even though it has a lot less track than all the other ones, still packs in 6 inversions, and it flies through all of them, and and there's one little break as you go over the station, but other than that, it is just inversion after inversion, and it is incredibly intense. Number 15, we have Gatekeeper at Cedar Point, a B&M wing coaster. This one has 7 inversions and is a very graceful ride. It has one good moment of airtime. All the inversions are great, and the near miss elements on this are top notch. And the helix at the end is a bit pointless, but other than that, it's a great ride. Number 14, we have Orion at Kings Island, the first Giga coaster on here. And this is my least favorite one. It is the shortest one that I've been on, and it feels like it has less speed because of how high up all the elements are. All the elements on this ride are super high off the ground, and it just kind of takes away from that feeling of speed. It is still a great ride with lots of great elements, with the first drop being one of the best first drops, and other elements like the speed hill and the little twist before the brake run. But it was a bit disappointing compared to the other Giga coasters that I've been on. Number 13, we have the Incredible Hulk coaster at Islands of Adventure, which this ride is another B&M, and it's one of their few launched coasters. This ride is probably the most intense ride that I've been on. This ride goes through, it's mainly the first half because it goes through everything inside the first half so fast, and everything gives such good positive G's and whip, and I pretty much am graying out the whole time throughout the first half. Number 12, we have Mystic Timbers at Kings Island, which is a GCI wooden coaster. This ride, other than most GCIs focusing on laterals, this ride focuses on airtime. And I feel like I prefer more of a wooden coaster to focus more on other things except airtime, but this ride has some great airtime, and it is very out of control, and it still delivers in laterals with that helix before it heads back. Number 11, we have Thunderhead at Dollywood, another GCI wooden coaster. This one focuses more on laterals and airtime. It still has some really good pops of airtime, and a night ride on this thing is absolutely insane with all the laterals and the good airtime. It's a great wooden coaster, but not the best wooden coaster that I've been on, which is number 10, The Beast at Kings Island. My top ranked Kings Island roller coaster. People criticize this for like having a lot of straight track and being meandering around a little bit, but on my rides it was flying through everything, and it was so much fun even during the day. But if you get a chance, ride this at night, because a night ride on the Beast is an unbelievable experience that is unlike anything that I've ever experienced before. And number 9, we have the first of 4 Cedar Point coasters is on my top 10. We have Magnum XL 200, again at Cedar Point. And this one is the only aerodynamics ride on here. It was the first ever hyper coaster. There are a bit janky moments with that turnaround and the first hill that it barely makes it over. But other than that, every single hill gives good floater airtime until the very end, where it goes through those triangle hills, and that is the main reason why it is up this high. Whenever you ride it, it gives probably the strongest airtime that I've ever felt, and it's almost painful whenever you slam up into the lap bars. And then at number 8, we have Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure at Islands of Adventure. A very well-themed roller coaster, and it is also very fun. It's another ride that is just pure fun. This one has 7 launches, which is crazy, and is a very long experience. It's a very immersive experience, and again, it's just pure fun. At number 7, we have Millennium Force at Cedar Point, an Intamin Giga coaster. This ride was the first Giga coaster, a coaster that goes over 300 feet, and it does a lot of things better than Orion. It doesn't give as much airtime as Orion, but it has a much better sense of speed, and it has a better first drop, in my opinion. And it's another ride that isn't that forceful, but it is just pure fun going that fast across Cedar Point. And at number 6, we have a Lightning Rod at Dollywood with, it's sad that it doesn't have the launch anymore, but it still gives the same powerful airtime that it has always given. The wave turn at the beginning one time gave me almost 10 seconds of airtime, and the quad down is as aggressive as everyone says it is. It is just an airtime filled ride with a great layout, and it's just very fun. Number 5, we have Iron Gwazi, another RMC. Lightning Rod is an RMC. And Iron Gwazi is at Busch Gardens, Tampa. It's a much faster and much better paced experience. It gives some much stronger airtime, has a much better first drop, and overall, even with the chain lift, this ride is absolutely insane and it's unbelievable. And get a night ride on this, because night rides on this also are insane. And my only gripe is that it feels like they had a budget with this ride, which is unlike a certain other ride that we'll get to a bit later. And at number 4, we have Maverick at Cedar Point, an Intamin Blitz coaster. This is like an adult version of Cheetah Hunt. It's actually shorter. It only drops 100 feet, but in that 100 feet, it has a 95-degree drop, which if you ride inside the back row is a very, very strong moment of airtime. It has some of the whippiest transitions that you will find anywhere, and is really intense, and it puts like every single type of force on your body that a roller coaster can put on you. It has a great variety. And at number 3, we have the roller coaster that got me into roller coasters, Velocicoaster at Islands of Adventure, another Intamin Blitz coaster. This one is very, again, like Hagrid's, is very well themed. The first half is completely inside of a raptor paddock, and it's very immersive. And I am a bit biased towards this ride because before I rode this, I was terrified of roller coasters, but I rode this, and that is what started my enthusiasm for roller coasters, because I loved it so much. And the second half gives some insane airtime over the top hat, no matter where you're sitting. The second launch is amazing. The stall is okay. It has that really cool Outer Banked airtime hill. And then the best moment of the ride with the Mosasaurus roll, probably the best element that I've ever experienced. My only small problem, is that it isn't as re-rideable as these next 2 coasters. And at number 2, we have the most re-rideable coaster that I've been on, with Fury 325 at Carowinds, also the tallest and fastest coaster that I've been on. This ride is what a Giga coaster should be. This ride has very high elements, and it keeps a strong speed throughout the whole thing, with that big barrel turn after the first drop, with the best first drop that I've experienced. Snappy turns, the treble clef is super intense and gives some good airtime going down. And then the only thing is that the helix after the first airtime hill is a bit slow, but it's still exciting. And those last airtime hills give some really strong airtime. And then my number 1 coaster that I've been on is Steel Vengeance at Cedar Point, which is an RMC Iron Horse conversion of Mean Streak at Cedar Point. And I already said that Iron Gwazi had a budget. I was comparing it to this. This ride seems like it didn't have a budget. Cedar Point just went up to RMC and pretty much said, you can do whatever you want. And this ride has more airtime than any other coaster on the world. And it is very aggressive airtime throughout the whole way. It has some really good inversions, and it's amazing how this ride keeps on going. I forgot to mention that Fury 325 is a B&M Giga coaster. And that is my top 25 coasters at the end of 2024. Thank you for watching. I hope you all have a great day, and see you.